I think I am fully content with just sitting back and watching the world burn and not taking any action to really change the course of where everything is heading. And I think a lot of people can relate to this. It feels like it's out of your hands. I really don't get this hyperfixation and guilting people for not doing anything substantial or doing anything very impactful to change the course of where the world is heading. I mean, do you know how damaging that is to someone's mental health to sit and worry so much about things that are completely out of your control? It's not a good life to live. It's honestly pretty miserable because it just makes you feel powerless. It makes you feel like you have no ability or no real power to make any meaningful change in your own life. Not even just the world, in your own life. Makes you feel like you've lost your autonomy. So, in all honesty, I'm just at this point content with watching the world burn and watching it all fall apart and just focusing on making sure at the end of the day I can do small acts here and there, and I can do what I can to change things in my own little way. But just like, why sit and worry about things again completely out of my control? It just leads you to be depressed. It leads you to be put in a very dark place. See, the reason why I believe people were a lot happier in the past is because of the fact that they weren't bombarded by this constant stream of information being projected to them 24/7, 7 days a week. They weren't being they weren't being bombarded with all of this bad news about everything that's happening in the world. The information that they did get was handed to them in increments, small dosages, so that it would be manageable to intake. Because bad news isn't exactly an easy thing to digest. It's honestly rather difficult to digest, especially with the things that are happening in our world today. It feels like we're going through a historical event every few days or so. And the funny part is that someone will sit and convince you that everything that's happening is normal and that you shouldn't pay attention to anything, or you shouldn't, not that you should not you shouldn't pay attention to anything, but you should just be content in the comfort that is provided to you by this modern way of life. Completely not pay attention to anything that's happening around you. Just be completely blind and clueless. Now, I'm not saying to just be completely blind and clueless to everything that's happening around you, but what I am saying is focus on what it is that you need to handle in the present with yourself before you worry about other people's issues. Because I'll tell you this, you'll meet a very finite amount of people that will actually put in the time and the effort and the care that you really need. Most people are just going out and going about only really focusing on their own issues and really only honing in on themselves. You'll meet a few people in your life that are really ride or die, that really will just sort of be there for you. But overall, most people aren't really doing that for you. That's just realistic. So the best thing you can do is really focus on yourself. You know, um, the best thing that you can do is stay well informed by yourself on what's happening around you, so that you can best prepare for anything that may appear. Because I'll say this, I'll say this. A lot of people are walking around completely blind, completely clueless, just distracted endlessly by sports and social media and these other modern amenities that really truly don't really matter in the end. So much so they're not really paying attention to their own lives, the needs that they need to fulfill for themselves. Truly, I don't know how it's degraded to such an extent, um, as it is right now, where I would even need to discuss just sitting back and watching the world burn, but it's degraded so rapidly and at such a fast rate to the point where I really don't think there's anything that we could do to change the course of where the world is heading. I think we are going to have to go through these hard times, these hard economic times, these hard social times, these hard societal times in order to come out the other end with something new and with something better. We had a very long time to change the course of where we're going, which is a future that's less free, a future that's less happy. It's a lot more miserable. We had a chance to change this, but we just didn't. We just didn't. We allowed it to get to this point. We allowed our freedoms to just be taken away. And yeah, yeah. I feel we're long past the good times, the comfortable times to which our grandparents lived, and I feel kind of in a really rough spot. At least Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Uh, in their case, we're in a pretty tough spot. And mind you, none of this is our fault, really. We're just most of us, most of us are just becoming adults. Most of us are just turning 20, 21, maybe 22. Some of us are a little bit older, but we're just starting our adulthoods. And we're starting our adulthoods in this rapidly decaying world where social norms are just completely out of the window. Everything's in dysfunction and nothing really makes sense. You know, I'm gonna go on a whole other tangent here, but I think the reason why the back rooms did so well with Gen Z as a whole is because it speaks to a sort of it speaks to a desolation that you feel in this world, this isolation, this feeling that no matter where you go, it's just going to be the same on the other end. It's this sort of liminal space, this sort of liminal world where you still have to wake up, you still have to go to work in the morning, you still have to do your regular needs. All the while, there's all these crazy things happening around you. And as time has gone on, the things that we kind of grew up with have become distorted in a shell of what they form formula. I can't speak. I can't speak at all. What they previously were, they become a shell of what they previously were. Sort of how that one scene in the back room is where it just goes down and down, and each level it just becomes less and less of what it originally was. And that sort of speaks to enshittification of just everything in our world. Everything from products to media. Everything is just enshittified in a lesser product of what a formula was. It's a really hard word to say, but Yeah, you notice this with a lot of products, even down to the logos. Logos become a worse version of what they were. I mean, that sort of ending. The minimalist style was sort of ending. The flat, boring designs are starting to come to an end. But yeah, the logos of companies now are just a representation of just how bad things have gotten in quality. And then a common thing that you see in the Backrooms movie is it never really copies historical structures or historical spaces. Like you never see a classical Greek or a classic Roman style backrooms level or room, if you will. It's always the same corporate the same corporate office building or corporate environment. This environment that you commonly see inside of a capitalist society. The false ceilings, very, very drab wallpaper, all those other things. And it's a testament to just how void of any life um, this world has truly become. Void of that human touch, if you will. You get the feeling that this world wasn't built for people. It was solely built for money. It was solely built to make the most amount of money possible. So when you are surrounded with a world like this, when you're surrounded with a world that's so gray, you, the motivation isn't there to try and make any substantial change. The motivation for that is to just watch it all burn down because you get the impression anything is better than living in a world that is so devoid of any life or any creativity. And I feel that that was the goal all along with the enshittification of everything, the graying of everything, the lessening of quality of things, lessening of life of everything, is to get us in this sort of mindset where we say, okay, I'm just going to sit back and watch the world burn. I mean, obviously, that's not a good mindset to really be in, you know, just sitting back and watching everything burn. I mean, obviously, you'd want to do something, try and change something. But that was the end goal of this all along, was to get us in this mindset to quell any rebellion against the system that is making things like this in the first place. We've become so distracted, so depressed, so so looking for any way out that's easy that we don't want to make the actual change to better all of our lives. If you look through history, the only times meaningful change happened is when the working class or ordinary people banded together and made the change happen. It didn't just happen magically one day. Um, a whole bunch of people just got together. No, it took a concentrated effort to give us the things that we're losing right now. But at the same time, it does reach a certain point where you do genuinely sit back and you go, what can you even do to fix any of this? Like, where do you even start, try and fix something that's so fundamentally broken to its very core that it more than likely wouldn't even be fixed in your lifetime. Your grandchildren or your great grandchildren will experience the things that you fought for, which is the purpose at the end of the day. At the end of the day, the purpose is to build a better life for the people that come after us, or in theory, that should be how it works, how it operates. We know how that goes. Um, because if that's how it actually worked, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in right now. So, yeah, we, I think, are gonna have to be the generation that really does something to better it for generations that come after us. And if we don't do it, then it's just going to continue being this way. It's just going to continue being the same stuff. And our grandchildren are going to have to deal with it. Our great grandchildren are going to have to deal with it. Yeah. I don't even know if this is sustainable. I don't even, it's really not sustainable when you think about it. Because if it keeps going at the current rate that it's going, I mean, we won't be able to live. We won't be able to really afford anything. So change has to happen, whether it be just letting it naturally burn down or actually making the change happen forcefully is going to happen. Because either way it goes, this isn't sustainable. I mean, the writing's on the wall. So, yeah. Me personally, yeah, I literally just I don't really. I would rather just watch it all burn down because it's just like you come to this sort of dilemma where you really sort of scope out and you look at everything on a grand scale and you start to realize just how I don't even know what the right word is to describe it, but just how insignificant all of this is really at the end of the day and at the end of the day how insignificant all of this is because you can sit and crawl and worry about all of this all day, or you can make the personal choice to, despite everything that's happening, all of the bleakness that's going on, all of the uncertainty, you can make the personal choice, the personal venture, try and improve your life individually to create a better life that's worth living for yourself individually. Unfortunately, I do think that it's coming to the point where we are kind of forced to do this. We're forced to create a life that's better for ourselves individually, becoming a lot more selfish as a society, as a people. It's sort of the thing of, well, I don't feel anyone else is really pursuing this. I feel everyone else is just simply doing their own thing, so why not I do my own thing? So, yeah. Yeah, it's a sticky situation this is. There's no real clear cut way of getting out of it. So, moral of this talk, if you will, and what it all boils down to is it's honestly it's a personal choice. You can choose personally to um try and make significant change. You can choose personally to only make change in your own life. But either way, you're going to have to make a choice because otherwise you'll just get left behind. I mean, this world isn't very kind to people who don't make the decision, work for everyone else, and try and work, make this world better, or to try and make their own individual lives better. You will get left behind. I mean, that's just the reality. So the choice is yours. Do you want to continue to lead an indecision? Do you want to make the decision to self-improvement, or do you want to try and help people? I mean, I've made the decision to just self-improve. That's my personal decision. So, what decision are you going to make?